D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
The Wizarding World created by J.K. Rowling is ostensibly whimsical and charming. But when you really think about it, it becomes perfectly clear there are plenty of disturbing things about Harry Potter and the universe in which it takes place. People often look back on their favorite films, television shows, and books with rose-tinted glasses. They ignore the problems with the story and instead focus on everything that was good, glossing over the parts that don't quite hold up. But a little digging often reveals a whole collection of issues and terrifying implications that you might never have realized. Looking past the façade and applying a modicum of logical reasoning shows just how many weird things about Harry Potter there really are. Whether it's the wildly racist undertones and overtones that direct how the witches and wizards treat the rest of the magical society, the inherent problems that come with certain magical abilities, and the unanswered questions that suggest horrific conclusions, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter might not be as fun as you first thought. Love potions are over-the-counter date rape drugs. One of the darkest aspects of Harry Potter is the proliferation of love potions. These potions are not only easy to manufacture, but also perfectly legal, sold in joke shops such as the one run by the Weasley twins. Although they are portrayed as fun, wacky concoctions, they are insanely powerful and effectively act as the ultimate date rape drug. They induce all-consuming lust and infatuation, giving anyone the ability to trick others into being attracted to them. The negative side effects of this were even shown in the novels, as Merope, Voldemort's mother, forced Tom Riddle Sr. to become her husband by constantly dosing him. She even had a child with him. Love potions are so strong that rapists can use them to force their victims to raise children with them. That's basically the plot of The Room, but way more messed up because the victim has to act like they enjoy it. Yet the wizards and witches in Harry Potter treat and regulate love potions like we would fake dog vomit. The world is full of racists who think that slaves are totally normal. A brief glance at the Harry Potter universe is enough to show just how racist and discriminatory most magical people are. The vast majority of witches and wizards look down upon other total sentient magical creatures, and there is a strong belief in the idea of pureblood families being superior. Magical abilities such as Parseltongue show that animals, or snakes at least, are fully sentient and have their own thoughts, feelings, and desires. Yet, they are still treated like, well, snakes. Perhaps the worst of all is the subjugation of house elves, who are basically just slaves. The entire society of magical users has benefited from their captivity. Remember, they do most of the manual labor at Hogwarts. And Hermione Granger is the only exception shown in the series. Even then, her activism for the elves is basically treated like a joke. Centaurs, mermaids, and giants are cordoned off into special areas. They can't leave and are forbidden to make contact with non-magical humans. It seems that goblins are only allowed to work in the banking industry. They're also forbidden from owning wands. And even otherwise normal wizards afflicted with the lycanthrope are ostracized. That would be like if someone got cancer and we all agreed as a society that they shouldn't be invited to parties. Wizard trials are a complete sham and not about justice at all. In order to sentence criminals and dish out justice in the world of Harry Potter, the magic users have a court called Wizengamot, made up of some of the most powerful people in the world. The court decides whether a person is guilty and punishes them accordingly. Unfortunately, they don't make use of any of the magical items, spells, or potions that could help them to definitively get the truth. Instead, rely on less credible evidence. While the truth serum veritaserum isn't totally foolproof, it would almost certainly lead to fewer people being found guilty of crimes they didn't commit and assist in finding the real culprits. Yet, it is never used by the court. They also rarely look into the people's memories, which seems weird for a society that keeps constant tabs on all of its citizens. The Wizengamot, therefore, is clearly a kangaroo court designed to keep the powerful in power. There is definitive proof of an afterlife, yet they literally destroy souls. Out of everyone alive on the planet in the Harry Potter universe, magic users are the only people who know for a fact that there is an afterlife. They have definitive proof all around them in the form of ghosts and the existence of souls. Remember, souls are what Dementors eat, and there is magic, the manufacture of Horcruxes, for instance, specifically designed around the manipulation of souls. Harry himself even dies and visits the afterlife before returning to the living world. Witches and wizards seem completely apathetic about this knowledge. They don't seem to have an organized religion outside of celebrating Christmas, which is insane since Christians famously burned witches, but whatever. Or even education about the fact. There's no class at Hogwarts on the nature of souls, even though they are arguably the most important part of a magic person's existence. Worst of all, most people think it's perfectly acceptable to destroy a person's soul with a Dementor, knowing they are depriving them of everlasting life after death. The American penal system is harsh, but the criminal justice dished out in Harry Potter is downright draconian. The name of the killing curse suggests wizards killed lots and lots of muggles. The killing curse is one of the 3 unforgivable curses that are illegal because of the damage they can cause to other living things. However, its name suggests an even darker history for the spell. The incantation Avada Kedavra is remarkably similar to the Muggle word abracadabra. This is the only real magical word that non-magic users are aware of, and it seems to be a corruption of the killing curse. Many fans speculate that this means the spell was used to kill so many people that it became ingrained into the Muggle culture. Magical society loves putting children in danger constantly. Obviously, it's impossible to eliminate all threats and sources of danger from a child's life. As we know from our world, it just never works. However, the government in Harry Potter seems perfectly willing to put its children at severe risk all the time for seemingly no reason. For example, the myriad risky spells and potions are taught at Hogwarts with seemingly little protection or adult oversight. Meanwhile, children are encouraged to play Quidditch, a sport that has players and equipment specifically designed to injure participants. Then there is the insurance nightmare that is the Triwizard Tournament. This government-sanctioned competition is advertised as extremely dangerous, and those involved can be and sometimes are easily killed by the various monsters and dragons that make up the tasks. A Boggart could destroy the planet. Boggarts are well-known magical creatures that have the ability to turn into a person's greatest fear, regardless of what it is. Although it has been said that they aren't as powerful as their genuine counterparts, they still have powers that are comparable if slightly weakened. This means that if a person was afraid of some great catastrophe like an erupting volcano or a meteor strike, they could cause serious damage to the planet. It's even possible for someone to have a black hole as their biggest fear, meaning if they ever came in contact with a Boggart, they would inadvertently consume the entire Earth. They entrust the awesome power of time travel to a kid so she can take extra classes. We find out in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban that the Ministry of Magic is in possession of magical items known as time turners. These ludicrously powerful artifacts allow their users to travel through time wisely because of the implications of the butterfly effect. They are hardly ever used by anyone. Ministry officials don't even utilize them to save important people or prevent horrific events. So it isn't that the government is not aware of the dangers of time travel. They have explicit and specific laws to deal with these items, in order to ensure they are safeguarded at all times. Yet, they allow a young schoolchild to use these extraordinary and dangerous items just to take a few extra classes at Hogwarts. That's an insane level of criminal negligence. It would be like giving a high school sophomore access to nuclear launch codes so they could finish a science fair project, except somehow even more dangerous than that. The broken education system leaves students woefully unprepared for the world. The education that magical folk receive during their formative years leaves a lot to be desired. Forget for a moment that most wizarding families don't send their kids to school before they head off to Hogwarts, apparently letting them just hang out at home until they're 11. But even the highly regarded magic school lacks most basic educational tenets. While at Hogwarts, children are not taught mathematics, reading and writing, sex education, biology, or really any science. Instead, they are educated about magical powers and the history of wizards, neglecting everything else needed to create well-rounded people. Hogwarts is basically a trumped-up vocational school that wouldn't pass even the most elementary educational certification in our world. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure that Ron knows how to do multiplication or even read. They completely refuse to help Muggles despite the good they could do. There is some rather evident hostility between the wizarding world and the rest of humanity, perhaps due to some type of persecution of magic users or a war between the two cultures. However, it seems completely thoughtless and downright evil for witches and wizards to straight up abandon the rest of humankind. The Statute of Secrecy effectively bans the use of magic to help Muggles, when they could, in fact, solve some of the world's biggest problems. Famine and drought could be prevented easily with teleportation techniques, diseases could be cured using magical spells, and humanity as a whole could advance through the joint efforts of technology and magic. Yet the Ministry of Magic and its foreign counterparts simply ignore Muggles and refuse to help them in any way. No one seems to care about privacy. Anyone who wants to keep anything private in the world of Harry Potter is pretty much out of luck. Everything in the wizarding world is set up to prevent people from keeping secrets. It's impossible to go about your life without others knowing what you're doing and where you are every single moment. The Marauder's map is proof enough of this. The magical item allows its users to see where every single living person is inside Hogwarts, making it easy to guess what they are doing and with whom. Magical potions and cloaks can render you invisible, making it too easy to spy on people that literally a child could do it. Also, the Ministry of Magic has shown an ability to monitor the magic usage of every single child in England, so they know where they are at all times, right? That sort of magic is rife for the abuse of pedophiles. In short, wizards and witches are constantly spied on, and there's nothing they can do about it. You cannot trust anybody in the wizarding world. The intense lack of privacy, along with the various magical elements, must make it almost impossible to trust anybody in the wizarding world. Whether it's the ability to spy on others using an invisibility cloak or acting as an imposter with the use of a polyjuice potion, there are plenty of ways to trick your fellow magic users. There are even spells that can let you manipulate the minds of other people and implant false memories. Considering how children are shown to easily use these methods throughout the films and books, everyone must be in a constant state of distrust. You would never know who you're talking to, who's listening, or if the memory of your child's birth was real or fake. People are trapped as immortal slaves in paintings. The idea of having people essentially come back to life as paintings after they die might seem charming, but the consequences are both obvious and horrifying. After all, the people in these paintings appear to have all the same memories and personality from when they were alive. The only difference is that they are trapped indefinitely within a two-dimensional plane of existence, only able to travel between other pictures. Worse, they are actually forced to do the bidding of the living. People charge them with guarding rooms or passing messages between different areas, all without a fleeting thought as to whether the person in the painting wants to do these tasks. It would be like bringing a family member back from the dead, only to have them run errands for you, forever. They are stuck in the technological dark age. Part of the initial appeal of the Harry Potter series for readers and viewers is how the wizarding world appears to maintain a focus on tradition. They write with quills and parchment, send messages via owls, and use a medieval castle for their school. Although this might seem charming or quaint, the magic abilities they possess have essentially kept the witches and wizards in the Dark Ages. They are stuck in a technological rut and rely completely on magic for all their needs. This serves them well enough for the most part, but it means they miss out on things like email and the internet, things that could revolutionize their world and allow them to communicate far more easily. They also seem to be blissfully unaware of the technology of Muggles, putting them in danger if a war ever broke out. They're wildly vulnerable from threats such as guns and other weapons that they don't understand.
Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that Geek What icon and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, join me every Tuesday where you can check out the list.